So, what does she need to know in order to be safe? What can you or what do you have to teach her in order to keep her safe out there in today's world? Basically, how can she increase her odds of not becoming a victim? Well, you need to have a program and to educate her in a few key areas. One, that there is a problem out there. So what's happening out there in today's world that really she needs to have a handle on and know some things about. Number two, know what to look for. Know what the warning signs are. Basically things that will tip her off so she knows what dangerous situations are out there, that when she starts to see them happen, she can avoid them before the situation gets her into trouble and or to the place where she's going to need to defend herself physically or verbally. So if she can see the warning signs, she can avoid those circumstances, keeping her safe before it even becomes an incident. She also needs to know what are the best and most effective ways of avoiding potential dangerous situations. A good example would be, do you know the one thing that she can do to reduce her chances of becoming a victim by almost 80%? Just that one thing can basically save her from a lot of situations that could turn into something very, very ugly. How about, what are the 6 essential things to do if she's being stalked? About 1 out of 12 women in today's day and age are stalked. So what happens, what can you do to prevent these things, and if they occur, what are the 6 things that you can do to prevent or to stop that person from stalking? Well, we'll talk about all these things and a whole lot more in our program. So, another thing that she needs to do is find out the truth about sexual assault and rape. What happens and who are the victims? What happens to the victims? What's the profile of the rapists? And I don't know if you're aware or if she's aware of what happens and what are the odds and statistics of people who report the rapes. What happens at that point in time? The program also needs to teach her what to say and what to do to better her odds of survival and escaping a situation if she is to find herself in one. So if maybe she does everything she can to avoid it, but she finds that she is in one, what happens then? So, do you know the one thing that most women who are victims of rape have said to escape? If you don't, again, our program is going to answer some of those questions for you and help you and her plan a program or a plan, something that's going to help her to escape. There are some programs out there and some advice out there that will help her out substantially. But there are other things that are taught very commonly that, quite frankly, is just a bunch of BS. It's a bunch of crap. It's urban legend, urban myth, so to speak. And those things will get her killed and or harmed. So, do you know what's what? Do you know what the real facts are and what really will keep her safe versus the hearsay of you heard from your sister's friend's cousin that, hey, this is what's happening or this is how to get out of it. A lot of the information out there is quite frankly bogus. So you really have to be careful on what you're teaching to your daughter in order to get the correct information. Another thing is, does she know when it is time to resort to physical defense? There is a time that she is more likely to escape if she uses physical defense. And obviously there is a lot of times when not to. And if you cannot distinguish the difference between those two situations, you definitely put her at a tremendous amount of risk, because if she goes physical at a wrong time, she can just escalate that circumstance to have her be assaulted, possibly raped, or brutally injured. There is one circumstance that if you do not know to prevent, she is over 70%, she has a 70% chance or more of perishing. So one circumstance that if it happens to her, you cannot allow her to do this under any circumstance. And if you don't know what that one thing is, you need our program. Speaking of physical defense, you need a program that will teach her not only how to physically defend herself from the most common attacks, but also the essential psychological and emotional aspects that will enable her to utilize any defensive strategy that she may attempt. Now, does she know how to escape when somebody has his hands around her throat? Or worse yet, if they have her pinned on the ground? What are some ways out of that very vulnerable position? Most places don't know the real way out. Quite frankly, it's very simple, but it's not real common knowledge. It's a very vulnerable position to be in, especially when somebody's bigger and stronger than you are, as in the case of your daughter versus some huge goofball, some jock, some football player, some big basketball player, or just some guy who wants to have his way with her. How is she going to get this gorilla off from her? Or what about if he has a weapon? What would you do if you knew that he had a weapon and he was going to use it against your daughter? What would she do if she had a knife up against her throat? Well, you know, about 11% of the rapists out there use a weapon. And over half of them use a knife. So what do you teach your daughter to do in the circumstance? If you don't know, she's at a great disadvantage. Do you know that there is one thing that most survivors did to escape rape? What is that one thing? We can teach you. She needs a program that will consistently and continually remind her to be aware and to teach her how to be safe out there in today's world. All the knowledge and tools that she may have will be absolutely useless to her if she cannot access those, and if she cannot apply, or she just, quite frankly, doesn't remember, doesn't think of them. You've got to be ready to use your tools, otherwise your tools aren't any good to you. That's why we've created Her Survival Guide. It is an ongoing process that gives you and your daughter the information that she needs in a simple format that is consistent and continually reminds her of these circumstances and really good strategies on how to get out of many circumstances that she will find out in the streets. You've taken the first most important step by viewing our initial video. So you already are becoming aware of the challenges and risks that are out there right now, and you're watching this, so you are starting our 7-part boot camp. And what we're going to do is we're going to take you through some essential steps to her survival and to her safety. What we're going to cover on the next clip is the one thing that she can do that's going to decrease her chances of being attacked and being a victim. And this one thing is part of our 6 A's of safety, and we're going to go over a few of them for you to reduce her odds of becoming a victim. In the meantime, have a great day. Thanks so much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.